Good evening, everyone. I hope you all are doing well. I had a somewhat creative idea for today's reading. I'm going to be using the before, the in between, and the after tarot all together to get the messages for tonight across, and we shall see what comes through. For some reason, I've just lately been drawn to the in-between tarot, and I've kind of been resisting it, and I'm not sure why, but perhaps it's because I was being called to use it for tonight's reading. So I am excited to see what this reading holds, and I'm just trying to get all these boxes unpacked here so we can get started. It's actually pretty late on my end, but I wanted to get something up and give you guys something to watch. The energies are pretty, like, it's calling for a home type atmosphere. Like, you might be feeling like just staying at home, watching movies, taking a warm bath and reading a good book. And that is kind of, what your system is calling for based on how these energies are impacting you. So listen to your body, engage in that self-care, whatever it is that you feel you need to do in order to just stay grounded and honor your emotions, take care of your emotions. So I have the Romance Angels and the Moonology deck out here for the Oracle cards, and I have a couple message card decks as well. So let's see here. Where shall we begin? Probably the Romance Angels, and then we will get stuck right in. So while I shuffle the cards, feel free to set your own intentions for this reading, either in your mind out loud or in the comments. Wow, that wanted to fly out. Stay optimistic about your love life, calling in your soulmate. So two very positive messages coming through straight away. And at the bottom of the deck here, we have past life relationship. So this has got to be either a very strong spiritual connection or a literal twin flame connection that we are channeling here. Take it as it resonates. Remember, this is a collective reading. So these are the two cards from the Romance Angels deck that came out. So Spirit, what do we need to know here about this past life relationship? And as soon as I lifted this card out from under the bottom of the deck, this pay attention to the red flags card just really made itself seen. So this tells me that we are probably going to go through the entire journey of this connection from beginning, middle to the end. And yeah, we shall see. We shall see what happens. Whoop, some cards are the wrong way around here. Quite a few of them. How did that happen? Let's try this again. This is the wrong deck. This is the after tarot. You can tell I'm tired today. It's been quite a few days here, so quite the energies. Spirit, what do we need to know about this connection? What are the red flags that we need to pay attention to? What is the red flags about the Two of Cups and the Empress? Wow. Okay. So this is the before tarot that I'm starting off with, you guys. And the Two of Cups and the Empress here indicate, given that the question we asked was about what red flags we need to pay attention to, it was about the dynamics in the household, especially around this person's mother, that taught them things that whatever they know about love currently, and that did not serve them well. I heard mother wound. So this person, this one of these divine counterparts, and we'll find out whether it's the masculine or the feminine here, or perhaps both, seem to have a mother wound around their ideology, around their belief system when it comes to relationships, when it comes to intimacy. I'm really seeing the word intimacy written in white and kind of like an old English type of font in my third eye. And I'm also seeing this white dove above this empress's head, which tells me that a misconstrued, misaligned view, given their not only their own upbringing, but their misunderstanding of religious factors, spiritual factors, is what caused this mother to instill within her child this negative view of intimacy and relationships. And I'm seeing a double-sided mirror here in my third eye. And what I feel like is happening, or that what happened, is on one end, this really feels like a masculine energy, that on one end, this masculine was taught to find his value through relationships. I feel like this masculine for quite some time felt incomplete without a relationship, but he didn't know enough about himself. He didn't love himself enough to attract the right types. And he kind of placed his own self-worth or value upon whether or not he is in a relationship. And he seems to have this idea, or he seemed to have this idea at the beginning, that no matter what it is, you just have to make it work. And I feel like that comes about from what he witnessed in his household growing up between his parents. Perhaps there was pseudo mutuality, like it was not a happy marriage between his parents, but they stayed together anyways, perhaps because of children or financial purposes or whatever the reason was. This Queen of Cups is showing that this mother figure repressed her true emotions and was only showing what she thought or what culturally was deemed appropriate for whatever reason. And this has to do with her own upbringing and her own inner child wounds as well. So do you see the way that this queen is just like really hunched over and just reaching for that cup? But there's really no motivation in her. She's just kind of like, let me see if I can grab it. I feel like that's kind of how she went through life on a day-to-day basis, just going through the motions without any sense of true fulfillment or a spark for life. I just heard Spirit say a spark for life. So this masculine kind of internalized that energy, that the home environment doesn't have to be satisfying, it just has to be stable. But as a child, I feel like this masculine must be quite emotional. I'm just really being drawn to the amount of water here in front of the Queen of Cups. I mean, she's literally got her throne on the shore of the ocean, and it's got to be the deep end here because a dolphin is coming up out of it. So this masculine must either have a lot of deep, untouched, unaccessed, unprocessed emotions. And his heart chakra, I feel like in the beginning was very open, like during his formative years, during junior high, high school. I feel like this masculine's heart chakra was extremely open. And this masculine must be very intuitive as well. Like, I feel like that's one of the masculine's traits here coming through. But he didn't know what to do with his intuition. I feel like he couldn't read his own intuition properly. And he was kind of drowning out that intuitive voice in order to conform to what he saw growing up in his own household, thinking that that's how things are supposed to be. But he was attracting relationships where he couldn't differentiate between lust and love, even from, you know, it feels like a young age, probably high school years. Like, he operated more off of attraction than he did out of love. And of course, at that age, you don't really have that deep of an understanding of what love is all about. You know, that's something you kind of learn as you grow. But at the same time, I feel like this masculine truly was deeply hurt because he couldn't differentiate between the two, because he couldn't differentiate between physical desire and actual love. So within his community, you know, within whether it was classmates or peers or whatever it was, I feel like he became attracted to somebody at a young age. And that person really hurt him deeply, to the point where this masculine kind of closed off his heart chakra. And even though he hadn't truly experienced love, he was under the illusion that he experienced love. And he made up his mind that, you know, love hurts, kind of developed this avoidant attachment style, and closed off his heart chakra to where he wanted to be in a relationship. He wanted to experience that love, but just the toxicity of this one relationship started this domino effect of him incrementally continuing to close off his heart chakra, because he had not healed properly, and he attracted other relationships simply off of that same dynamic, simply off of lust. And that has to do with the mother wound as well, because I feel like this masculine's parents truly didn't share love. They probably had gotten attracted to each other through lust, created a family, and then just felt like they were stuck together. Yeah, here, this King of Cups, I feel like this has to be like the father figure of this masculine's energy that's coming through so strongly, that is kind of overbearing. And usually the King of Cups is really, you know, a nice, mature, emotionally developed masculine. But I feel like this particular King of Cups is somebody who, how do you say it, like put a lid on this masculine's emotions by emasculating him every time he wanted to express emotions. And that created a lot of confusion within this divine masculine that we're channeling now, because on the one hand, this masculine is a very emotional person, and on the other hand, his father is teaching him to shut off emotions. On the third hand, he's seeing this very unhealthy, very superficial relationship dynamic between his parents. He is intuitively sensing that something just doesn't feel right between them. He's probably witnessing a lot of fights and conflict that probably had him traumatized and scared. But I really feel like this mother of his lacked the emotional maturity to really sit down and have a heart-to-heart conversation with him, and to help him process what he was seeing and hearing in the household, to make sure that he doesn't like get PTSD from it. You know, I feel like she was probably too busy trying to, you know, fix herself emotionally, that she didn't really have that availability or energy for this divine masculine. So he just kind of made things whatever, you know, based on what he saw, that this type of conflict, this type of unhealthy emotional interactional pattern was normal in a way, you know, like it was almost, he knew it was wrong, but at the same time his household normalized it, and he knew it didn't feel right. He knew that's not what he wanted, but at the same time he did not know that he was actually subconsciously attracting the same types of partners as his parents were to each other, because those unhealed wounds within him were, you know, kind of like he had the subconscious radar out for those types of people. If you go back to a video that I did, I think last week, I talk about imago theory and why that happens. It was a little, you know, psychology and guidance talk along with a reading. So you'll understand on a deeper level what I'm talking about here if you go back and watch that video. But this divine masculine had a very immature view of relationships and love. But at the same time, he felt so deeply, he felt with a fiery passion that he couldn't differentiate. You know, he was always seeking that emotional fulfillment. He was always seeking this Ace of Cups, this new beginning that would bring him the fulfillment that he desired. I feel like this masculine kind of is like a hopeless romantic in his younger years. You know, he was immature, but he thought he was mature, and the way he carried himself kind of tricked people into believing initially, you know, that he was mature, especially his partners. I feel like other people probably really did buy into that, because this masculine is excellent at wearing a mask in the 3D that other people couldn't really tell the difference. So he had created this pattern, created this tendency, and that is the basis for which he kept attracting relationships. But instead of fulfillment, it brought him a lot of emotional burdens. It burdened his spirit, because he couldn't quite understand why things wouldn't work out the way that he desired, not knowing that his own avoidant attachment style was actually contributing to that. And I feel like this pattern continued for a series of relationships until this masculine had a really big shakeup in his life that kind of started to enlighten him to the fact that he didn't need a relationship to feel complete, but he wanted a relationship. This Ace of Wands is coming out with this energy of utter desire. It's just, you know, he didn't want emotional intimacy after a while because it hurt too much. Like, these people he was attracting were just so toxic for him. They were not genuine. They were not compatible with him. But at the same time, he just, you know, he was now actually consciously just attracting off of lust rather than love, because he had made up his mind that love hurts. And that tower moment was a major turning point in his life that would lead to a series of fated events that would lead him to the ultimate ascension and healing journey through meeting his divine feminine. I feel like this is the setup for what happened in the past with this divine masculine whose energy is coming through here. And as far as the divine feminine, who is the counterpart of this masculine, let's have a look at what her situation may have been in the past. I think this Queen of Pentacles wants to come out and being told to take her. So what happened for this divine feminine spirit? What is her past story? I feel like with the Queen of Pentacles, this is this divine feminine's mother figure again coming through, because like I was saying earlier, I see a double-sided mirror here. I see that this divine feminine was probably taught or convinced at an early age that having romantic feelings for somebody is a bad thing. Like it makes her a bad, like a bad person in a way, you know, like somebody that should feel ashamed for having those feelings. And there was no need for that until she, you know, reached a certain level of stability in her life, until she created a name for herself and had a career and got her degree. And it just was, you know, like this quote unquote lesson that was taught to her, that taught her that she needed to repress that side of herself, because it's something that only bad girls have, or bad girls do. You know, people that other people don't look at with respect, like, you know, that type of ideology. So this divine feminine really learned to repress that side of herself, because she was taught that it's really like taboo and not okay, and good girls don't have feelings like that. Good girls don't do things like that. Otherwise, you know, people would probably consider her, I think you know what I'm trying to say, fill in the blank here, right? An SLUT. So this divine feminine really truly just, you know, learned to fixate on other things, on academics, on career, on like a scholarly life, I guess you would say. And she was, wow, look at this. So many of the same or similar cards are coming out here. Yeah, this Queen of Cups and this Two of Cups again. So, you know, this feminine was just taught that, you know, she shouldn't feel those things, and, you know, guys only want one thing. And so she kind of learned to be afraid of the opposite sex, to keep herself so much at a distance from them that, you know, they're not going to ever respect or honor her. And if she wants to have respect, then she has to stay away from them and emphasize the fact that she does not feel anything romantic, not just for any particular person, but for anyone in general. And I feel like this feminine just totally shut herself off to the idea, because she was taught that it's way more respectable, way more desirable to just focus on your career and build yourself up than have anybody else in your life in that status. So here we have the Ten of Swords. That kind of killed the idea of any relationships or children for her in the future. She kind of decided that, okay, well, then I guess this is what my focus is going to be. So she never really experienced that life. She never really experienced that that phase of, you know, dating people, going through the ups and downs, and just knowing what that feels like. She was taught to look down upon it so much that I feel like her heart chakra was closed off, just like the masculine, but for a completely different reason. And you know, this also created a turning point in this divine feminine's life when she finally ran across her masculine and was awakened to the truth of what love is all about, of what life is all about, and the fact that she's not going to be considered a loose person or a bad girl, you know, or a SLUT for having feelings for somebody. And I feel like in the past, this feminine really could not empathize with anybody who was having romantic struggles, because she was taught to look down upon it so much that she really started to look down on those people that were going through heartache because of romantic love, you know, whether it was problems in an existing relationship, a desired relationship, or unrequited love, whatever this, whatever her friends were going through, whatever her circle of people were going through, she had zero empathy for them. And in fact, she kind of became disgusted by them because of her conditioning that, oh, these people must be like that because look at them, they're crying over somebody else all the time. And you know, they don't know how to focus on the right things, and you know, they should turn towards spirituality, they should turn towards studies, they should turn towards career, and just forget about that stuff. So you know, this Five of Pentacles energy was like that she was shut off to that world. And I don't feel like it was maliciously done. I feel like this is how this feminine's own mother was raised, and she was trying to protect her own daughter from, you know, the horrific things that might happen if she got involved with somebody at an early age. You know, I feel like this feminine's mother was afraid that the feminine wouldn't go to college, or she might get pregnant early, or you know, she wouldn't be able to function at school if she was involved with somebody romantically. So in attempts to protect her daughter from all of those otherwise, you know, natural life experiences, not that everybody goes through those things necessarily, but you know, there's always a potential for people to go through those things. And I feel like in an attempt to protect her daughter from that, the mother like literally turned her the other way from it, to where this feminine's heart chakra had completely closed before she ever even got into a relationship with anybody from a very early stage in her life. And I feel like she just had zero empathy for anybody who was going through anything of that sort. So then let's look at the middle phase of this. What happened between or for this masculine and feminine in the middle stages of their life? What happened? What did that energy look like? Emotions are running high. So I get the sense here that for the masculine's end of things that we were channeling, the masculine was looking for escapes. He was looking for ways to get out of his family of origins, household situation, because he could not be in an environment where there was so much fighting and possibly even abuse, like domestic violence going on. And he just wanted to find his own happily ever after. There was a part of him that was so much longing for having that type of a, you know, soulmate bond, heart-to-heart connection with somebody who he could also call his partner in life. But at the same time, the other part of him was terrified of intimacy and terrified of getting close to anybody, because he didn't want what his parents were going through to be happening in his own life. So it was such a catch-22 situation for this masculine. Let's see what else we need to know. I'm using the in-between tarot now. We have the Devil. I just knew this card was going to come out at some point. This masculine then began to kind of give into his own toxicity. He started to display more and more of this really non-committal, just this non-committal type of behavior, possibly even highly sexual energy coming from him towards people, but he was not really interested in them. Honestly, I don't even feel like he was interested in sex with them. I think he just wanted to, he didn't know how else to form any kind of a connection with anybody. And I don't feel like he was going around sleeping with people, but I feel like the way he spoke to people, the idea that he kind of gave off to the people, especially of the opposite sex that he came across, it caused a lot of people to think that that he was interested in them, or that he wanted something more. And then when he would turn them down, it would really hurt them, because they really didn't understand what was going on or where he was coming from. I feel like this was something that he just used as a mechanism to pass time. For him, it was a lighthearted, meaningless thing, but for the people that he was interacting with, it was meaningful. You know, it was something that they thought he truly wanted and might be willing to pursue with them. So it created a lot of confusion within other people, and it created a lot of defensiveness within the masculine, because that's not what he wanted. But at the same time, he was not communicating it that way. He was not at all being transparent about what his intentions were. And he wouldn't really clear the air either when somebody would come to him and say, you know, okay, so do you want to do this? Let's do this. And he would just kind of make up an excuse, rather than saying, I'm sorry if I gave you the wrong idea. That's not what my intention is. I feel like this probably also happened at work, where this masculine was, you know, he was just trying to get through the day. We have the 8 of Coins card here. He was probably just trying to get through the day and, you know, make for some sort of entertaining conversation with the people around him. And he did it in such a wrong way that he just kept hurting people. And the issue was that his heart was so closed, and he was so codependent, that even though he started to realize what, you know, the truth of the other people's feelings were, he could not set the record straight. He was so closed off, so afraid of confrontation, so just really kept everything to himself. A severe lack of expression is what I'm picking up here. That, you know, and here we have the Emperor at the bottom of the deck, and I feel like this is where the father wound comes in, because it seems like that is kind of what the father's energy was. You know, the father may have been abusive towards the mother, but at the same time, just like anyone who's a bullied cannot continue the bullying if they are confronted, right? Now, this divine masculine by no means was a bully, but he was definitely somebody who couldn't handle the confrontation, and he just wanted people to, you know, he wanted to be in control of how far any relationship went. He did not want to compromise or share the control of that with anybody, and this was for the sake of him feeling safer. It just felt emotionally safer if he took that route. And I feel like in doing so, this masculine attracted a karmic connection that utterly mirrored his parents' dynamic. Everything that he had been trying to avoid since childhood was recreated in his own life through a karmic connection. We have the 3 of Coins here, and I feel like this happened somewhere in between meeting the divine feminine in the 3D, where I feel like with the 3 of Coins, you see how there's these 3 people. This person in the middle is the divine masculine, and he's caught between these other 2 energies, the true divine feminine who he actually longs for and desires, and this karmic feminine who had a karmic soul contract to teach him many awakening lessons before he would be off the hook, per se, and allowed to pursue his divine feminine. And I feel like the choice, oh my God, the synchronicity, you guys, the choice that this masculine made, here we have the Fool card, the leap that he took was the wrong leap, and boy, oh boy, did he regret that, because he basically had set the wheels in motion for about 4 years, right, of karma. It's too many cards, but I'll take the 10 of coins since it peeked at me. He thought he was creating stability with the absence of emotional connection. He was overthinking. I obviously cannot hold the cards. We have the 7 of Cups here. He obviously was, like weighing out all his options and trying to be logical when in fact it was only his emotional side speaking. Logic wasn't even in the picture, but he couldn't tell because he had been operating off of wounded emotions for so long. And he thought that, this would be a great creative spark for him, a new beginning that would really take him places with this karmic feminine. And who cares about love? Love hurts anyways. The heart chakra is closed. I'm not even looking for anything long-term. The divine feminine reminded him too much of, what long-term love, divinely guided love actually looks like, and it scared him. He was scared to think that he actually might hurt this feminine because he was starting to realize how closed off his heart chakra was. So he just kind of pushed her away, and he had gone in this other direction that would really, really lead to a major, major shakeup for him. We have the 9 of coins at the bottom of the deck. This card came screaming with the energy of feeling single even while in a relationship. Yeah, because you cannot open up to this person that you're with. It may have seemed easy to speak to them openly at one point, and then it got to a point where it's like the toxicity starts to come out to the surface, and then he realized, like, I really cannot talk to this person. This person does not understand me, and I cannot open up to them. I feel very, very judged, is what this masculine was thinking. So major awakening happening there, right? Major emotions running high. Now let's have a look at the feminine side of things. What happened to the feminine in this in-between phase? We have, oh my God, you've got to be kidding me. The Devil again. This was also the first card for the masculines. This is amazing. The feminine was exposed to the two-facedness of her own caregivers, especially one in particular, which feels like a mother that, this mother, I feel like this divine feminine's family of origin kind of fell apart. And it was probably due to issues like domestic violence and infidelity, because twin flames do mirror that, right? Even their family of origin dynamics and issues often do mirror each other very, very much. And for these two, it seems like it was a lot bit the same. Not just a little bit, a lot bit the same. And this divine feminine was kind of struck with a reality that she had been misled or conditioned to believe one thing about love, relationships, feelings of romance, sexuality in one way. And now she's seeing this same mother who taught her all of these things reacting and responding in a completely opposite manner. And it made her overthink to the point where you see this emotions are running high card. Yeah, this is an understatement for the emotions that are coming through for this feminine. I'm feeling anger, frustration, just a desire to be so independent that she never has to see this mother's face again, because she was truly feeling like, how could you do this? If this is the 10 of coins, And even if it was something that was expressed to this divine feminine that is being done for stability purposes and whatnot, this divine feminine is extremely intuitive, possibly even clairvoyant. And this feminine realized that something is being, I am being, they're trying to pull the wool over my eyes, is what I just heard this divine feminine step in to say. That they're trying to pull the wool over my eyes. And, all my life, I've been told this, I've been taught this. And that means, you deprived me of this very natural and normal human experience. And yet you want to create this life for yourself now? How could you? How dare you? And if it's such a bad thing, then why are you doing it? It does not make any sense. And I feel like this divine feminine was just met with backlash every time she expressed her emotions around how she felt with what she was seeing and experiencing firsthand from this very mother figure who told her how bad sexual feelings and relationships were. Then what happened, Spirit? Three of Wands. Of course, Three of Wands happened. This divine feminine was on a journey to seek her independence and her stability, possibly through finding work or starting school or, some sort of official endeavor that led her to her masculine. Do you see how these Three of Wands, it almost looks like the Four of Wands card in traditional tarot. In fact, it looks very similar to that, because even if it is the Three of Wands, I'm actually seeing four here. There are four wands here, but this is the Three of Wands card. That's very interesting. I don't use this deck often, so some of this imagery is still like, I forgot about it, so it looks new to me. But all of these things started to be illuminated in the mind of this feminine, and the feminine had just decided, and oh my gosh, look you guys, I'm just noticing the blue and the orange. These are twin flame auric colors. The divine masculine's auric energy is always in blue. Divine feminine's auric energy is in orange. So this is very much also a twin flame card in this deck. But with the moon here, it's telling me that this divine feminine was trying to suppress a lot of things. She was trying to process internally on her own. She felt very alone, didn't feel like she had anyone to talk to. Each day just seemed like this uphill endeavor that she was wondering how the heck she was going to get through the rest of her life. And she decided that she just wanted to work, save money, and get out of this, this situation that left her in such a state of dissonance that she didn't know who or what to believe anymore. And she decided she would just keep to herself. Whatever her principles were, she would just stick to them. And boom, her divine masculine was illuminated to her. And she started feeling everything that she had been taught all her life was so bad to feel. That she had been told all her life only the bad girls feel and desire. But she had become so fed up with everything that was going on around her. I keep hearing a divine feminine step in to say hypocrisy. That, and truly that seems like a very apt word to use here. It was a very hypocritical thing to do, that, she felt distant and disconnected from the mother figure that she had always felt so close to. It's like she just really emotionally began to walk away from her, to the point where she stopped caring, she stopped spending time, she stopped really speaking to her, and was mostly, this mother figure had been in a defensive mode every time the feminine would confront her about anything, that the feminine started mirroring that defensiveness back to this mother figure. But actually, her experiencing all of these emotions through being activated in this twin flame connection through her divine masculine led her on a very long journey of healing. Very long internal journey of ascending, awakening, healing, getting in touch with her spirituality in a way she never had before. I feel like this divine feminine was so religiously inclined. She already had a very deep relationship with source, with the higher powers. But she now, only after being activated through the auric merge with her masculine, was able to see the full picture of this is what love and acceptance is. She started thinking back to, all of those times when her friends were communicating to her about their relationship problems, their heartbreak issues, and how she had been towards them, and realizing, oh my gosh, this is what they were going through, and this is what I did. And it's, in a sense, she knew it wasn't her fault because that's how she had been raised and conditioned. But then another part of her also felt so guilty that she had been so much in her masculine energy. Here we have the King of Cups. She had been so much in her masculine energy that she had totally tuned out her emotional side, her feminine energy. And now she was just stepping into the balancing of those masculine and feminine energies, which she would do over the course of time. And this Nine of Coins card, oh, this is insane, you guys. This is also the last card that came out for the masculine. This is the last card that's coming out for the feminine. That this streak of separation, temporary 3D physical disconnect, however it took place, whether it was physical, I don't think that this masculine and feminine ever emotionally disengaged. I feel like they were both emotionally extremely tethered as well as spiritually. And were is the wrong word. They are, because this energy also feels very current. Spiritually and emotionally, they're so tethered, but in the 3D world, they both were looking single and independent. Well, the masculine wasn't, but the masculine was looking independent. The divine feminine was looking single. And this was actually what needed to happen to fully awaken both parties to the bigger picture, the full picture of what true love really is and what it's all about. Wow, this is a powerful reading, you guys. This is extremely intense. And at the bottom of the deck, we have the Hierophant. And what this tells me is that somewhere on a soul level, this masculine and feminine both knew that they would wind up with each other. They knew that intuitively. And spiritually, they were already committed to one another. Regardless of the choices that were made in the 3D, I believe this masculine was always partially awakened. And I say partially awakened because he realized from the get-go that his divine feminine was the one, but he was resisting it because of the other part of him that was still in the ego 3D matrix. And the spiritual guidance that they received from source during this time of 3D physical disconnect was exactly what they needed to become who they needed to be to make a lasting relationship work with each other. This is the ultimate twin flame connection, you guys. Through this awakening, this triggering, they are now starting at this point in this reading journey to heal generational trauma from families, to heal their inner childhood wounds, to be activated on a spiritual level to true unconditional love, and to ascend to that level so that they can come together into official, even 3D union. See how this couple is getting married. This is, currently depicting the 5D marriage between these divine counterparts. And now we will use the After Tarot to see what happened next and what does the end look like. What does the outcome, I should say, that sounds way better. What does the outcome look like for these counterparts? Let's start with, oops, let's start with the divine masculine. Let's see here. Wow. What does the outcome look like, Spirit, for the divine masculine? The Magician. From being stuck in his head so much, this masculine is being activated into actual action. I keep hearing the word planning, and I feel like that had been the phase that this masculine was stuck in for so long, just planning, and kind of being stuck in the past, crying over spilled milk, feeling so depressed that he couldn't find the motivation to actually take action towards a way out. Part of him probably started to feel like this is what he deserved. And I just keep hearing self-pity. And I'm seeing a pig wallowing in mud. And I feel like that is a depiction that Spirit is showing me for how this masculine is wallowing in his own self-pity, or was wallowing in his own self-pity. But now he's being activated out of that energy and being motivated to create this clean slate and balance out his connection with his divine feminine, to actually come forward and be vulnerable along with being loyal, to explain to her where he came from when the 3D physical disconnect happened, to apologize for hurting her, to actually start to travel towards creating a life together with his beautiful divine feminine. This bird flying overhead is truly like, the message coming in. To me, that is the ultimate symbol of a message coming in. And even though there isn't anything in this bird's feet, but for some reason in my third eye, I keep seeing like a scroll, a letter that this masculine must have written and given to this bird to fly over to his divine feminine to send her this message. We have the Hierophant making his appearance again at the bottom of the deck. This is a message of commitment, like the divine masculine actually confessing to the feminine that I do see you already as my partner, even though I never allowed myself to tell you that or show you that or express that. But the truth is that I do, and I hope every single day that you think of me in the same way always, and that, you are as faithful to me as I am faithful to you, that even through this distance, we have remained spiritually and emotionally connected. My hope is to also physically connect with you now at this point in time. Here we have the Hanged Man being given water by this this other feminine figure here. And I feel like this is like the ultimate relief for this masculine. He had been tied to this tree, hanging upside down by his toes, facing negative karma for everything that he had done, whether it was intentional or not. I feel like he faced a lot of this stuckness because he had to clear the karmic debt for the pain that he caused his feminine as well. So even though both were kind of getting impatient and suffering in this phase of being apart physically, it is something that the masculine had to go through to you know, kind of like be at a 0 point balance again, karma wise, to bring in this union between him and the feminine. Anything else, Spirit? That was a really strange sensation that I just had too. I feel like, yeah, to end this cycle of being left out in the cold, I feel like whatever it was I was about to say was just kind of wiped from my mind as soon as I opened my mouth to say it. So we'll see if that message comes back. But the Strength card here indicates like ultimate ego death, and actually, you know, taking that chance to go towards the feminine. I just heard taming the lion. And taming the lion for this masculine is really taming his ego mind, you know, to end this overthinking cycle, to end his toxicity, to tap into his feminine energy and see things clearly without any rose-tinted glasses on, realize his need for swift action, for, you know, for swift communication and movement. Now he's actually fired up with a desire to do that. And the King of Wands shows us that he is actually taking action on what he is feeling. He is not just in a mode of thinking and desiring any longer. He thinks, he's desiring, and he's acting. So he's coupling his thinking and desiring with actual acting. And here we have our action, I should say. We have the Ten of Cups at the bottom of the deck, signifying this is the ultimate outcome for both parties. Let us look at the divine feminine end of things. We all know that the Ten of Cups is, you know, emotional fulfillment is the most imminent outcome that is coming this couple's way. Let's see what happened with the divine feminine after she was activated in such a way. I feel like the messages here are so much slower to come out. Oh my God. You guys, the Emperor and the Empress. Divine counterparts in perfect alignment. Even in the tarot, these two are each other's counterparts. The divine feminine fully stepped into her divine feminine energy, hence triggering this masculine through energetic support, through emotional and spiritual support, to step into his full emperor role, to take control of his life, to start contributing to their connection, to bring this stability that up until now the feminine felt like she alone had been nurturing. We got the Ten of Cups appearing again, you guys. To bring it into full fruition for the emotional fulfillment of both parties. And both these counterparts are on the same page as far as wanting to create a stable life with one another, as far as desiring to create a family with one another. I just heard a masculine and feminine in unison step in to say to do all of life's adventures with you. They want to bring the spark back in here. They want to create spontaneity in this connection. They are now you know, feeling confident enough within themselves. Emotionally, they are fulfilled to the point where they are now ready with a cup of their own that is full to pour into one another, and not having that expectation, which I feel like this masculine and feminine in their own ways in the past had, that, you know, my counterpart, and union with my counterpart is what's going to make me happy. It's what's going to complete me and fulfill me. They are now realizing that they have that power within themselves. They are being liberated from that incomplete or unhealthy mindset. Wow, what an amazing reading. Let us get a couple messages here. Let us get a couple messages from these counterparts. Whoever wants to speak, free run, my divine masculines and feminines. Whoever wants to come through here may do so now, or forever hold your peace. I am so proud of the woman you've become. This honestly feels like a higher self message from the divine feminine to herself. Her higher self speaking to her of how proud she is of who she's become. And this is definitely from the masculine. I know it's taken me a long time to change, but I know now is the time to. Absolutely. This masculine is realizing a lot. He has realized a lot, and he continues to realize a lot. Let us have a look. This is my third party message card oracle, because there was a third party situation here on the masculine's end. I see how you love yourself, and I want to feel that way about myself. Absolutely. We talked about the divine feminine triggering this masculine into his own healing and ascension. There we have it. You're such a better person than she is. Absolutely. This masculine has realized that the grass was definitely yellower on the other side, not green. I ask you to come into my dreams. Yes. This masculine definitely, literally, like almost every day, nearly every day, dreams of this divine feminine. 100%. So that is where I'm going to wrap up this reading for tonight, you guys. Thank you so much for spending time with me. And I do hope that this resonated and that you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments if this resonated, what resonated. I love hearing from you guys, and I definitely do read through my comments. So do check out the video description box for my other platforms. Those are the only other platforms I have. If it's not what's linked down below, they are scammers. Please be careful. I only have one Instagram, one TikTok, and I post little short readings there every single day. So do come and join me there if you would like. Instagram is the place where you can purchase personal paid readings and services from me. Black magic energy removal, manifestation rituals, abundance prayers, healing prayers, energy healing sessions, spiritual protection and physical protection prayers and rituals. I offer a whole lot of things, not just readings, you guys. So Instagram is the place to make any kind of paid personal service purchases and stuff from me. So do come join me there if you would like, and I hope that you all have a beautiful evening. Take care.